Okay, well, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Creo Schematic 3.0 update webinar. I'm Joshua Fontana, and that's what we'll be talking about today. So first off, let's go over the agenda. So first, I'm going to introduce myself, and then I'll introduce boundary systems, and then we'll talk about Creo Schematics 3.0. Then I'll go ahead and do some demonstration of some of the updates for Creo Schematics 3.0 from 2.0. And then we'll have a question and answer session. So first off, my name is Joshua Fontana. I'm an applications engineer for Boundary Systems. I've been doing this for about 3.5 years now. I have a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering, an associate's degree in mechanical drafting and design with an expertise in manufacturing processes, value stream management, lean, and engineering software. So about Boundary Systems. So we are a technology leader with partners including PTC, Solid Thinking, eTraj, Autodesk, and other tech companies. We're the number 16th fastest growing private company in the Cleveland area. And some of our capabilities include product lifecycle management, data management, CAD design and consulting, simulation, and product development. And here is just a good overview of some of our customers that we support and handle software. So some of our awards would include the Inc. 5000 and the Weatherhead 100. We're also a Windchill certified implementer, a PTC preferred service provider, and a PTC certified training partner. And some of our solutions that Boundary Systems offers is from PTC, Solid Thinking, eTraj, Autodesk, and Noesis. Okay, so again, my name is Joshua Fontana. So if you have any technical questions related to any of the subject matter in this presentation, feel free to toss me an email, jfontana@boundarysys.com. And if you have any sales related questions, if you're wondering how much some of the software costs or things of that nature, feel free to contact Tony Malorny at tmalorny@boundarysys.com. Okay, so let's start off, get right into some of the updates for Creo Schematics 3.0. And one of them is just the folder display. So by default now, the folder appears collapsed. Before, it was all expanded, and if you had a vast library of blocks, then you'd have to collapse everything or scroll down, enable just to find what you're looking for. So now they're collapsed by default, which makes finding things much easier. Next is folder creation. So creating and renaming folders in a single operation. As you can see here, I created a new folder in this design. Then the folder parameter dialog box pops up. It'll allow you to put the name and description right there as you create it. Before, it would just create a folder and give it a default name, and then you had to rename it afterwards. So as you can tell, that would increase productivity and get your designs going faster. Okay, so another nice feature here is the follow fiber command. So you can route a new fiber using the path of an existing fiber, okay? So whether it's a wire, a cable, a pipe, what have you, you can follow the existing route of that existing fiber. Okay, so in the interface, it's in the route group and then follow fiber icon. So you can follow the path of an existing fiber, and there you can see in the image, a couple a before and after image of the two harnesses associated with those components. So, and able to accomplish this, and as I'll show you in the demo, you select, you click route and then follow fiber, and then select the fiber you want to follow, and then select the start and end ports, and continue following the fiber for many ports as you like. So to exit, of course, you could right click and select exit. You can also select fiber first and then click route follow fiber. So either way, the distance between the ports is maintained throughout the entire length of the path of the fiber. So if you choose to follow part of the path, the system follows the path until it finds the shortest distance between the fiber, and then it'll route itself. So in this case, where this W41 wire, it's following this wire up until this location, and then since it's going over to this port, it breaks off from that and then follows that. And of course, all these you can manually manipulate afterwards also. So next is reordering cables. So you can reorder shielded fibers. In the interface location, it's under the data and then reorder logical names, as you can see in the graphic there. So in order to do this, you select the block or fixed group first, and then in the data tab, you can select reorder logical names. The reorder logical name dialog box would pop up at that point, and then you can select the part to reorder and click one of the following options. So the options would involve, just moving one of the groups up or down, or switch places with an existing member of a group, and that's all within your variable groups there. Okay. Next, there is save a copy command. So save a copy, if you go to File, Save a Copy, then it'll give you a dialog box that you can save a copy of the existing design, okay? So this way is a bit faster than it was before. And there's a few different file names or file extensions you can save it off as. You can save an open design under a new name as a design or design template, which is an RSDT file, or a package design, which is an RSD file. You can also use an existing name and save it as a different design type. Okay, also default parameters. You can remove user-defined parameter values from design parameters. In the interface, it's located in the Design tab, and then if you go to Edit Global Parameters, this is the dialog box that would show up as you can see in the graphic. So they have all the system parameters listed there. So you can remove user-defined values for system parameters. In the previous releases of Creo Schematic, you could add user-defined values to the system, but you could not remove them. Okay, so for location sets, so you can apply location sets to a design template file also. So in the interface that's in the Catalog Explorer, if you open that up, and then you change the type to design templates, then it will give you a list of your design templates, as you can see here in the graphic. You can select one of those templates and then define a location set associated with that template file and apply it right there before you even open up the template file and start creating things. So as it says here, you can specify location set on design sheet template so that when the new design sheets are created, the location sets automatically applied to the new design sheet. Okay, so error messages also have been updated. So basically just the error messages are improved. So the message is going to be down in the message area, down in the lower part of the interface. So error messages are more descriptive and helpful than they were before. So for example, you'll be instructed to contact technical support for the repair of your design, or you're provided with instructions on how to manually repair your design. So there's a small description or a small depiction of the message window there. Okay, so from to reporting. So the from to reporting is based on a selected component. So then whenever you select a component, you can utilize this and able to give you a nice report that shows you things like the individual cable, conductor, from component, from port, to component, to port, and so on. So you can create a from to report from a selecting component. A pre-configured report is available. So typically you'd have to generate this. You could create this report, but this one's pre-configured for you, okay? Since it's so popular, then they put it right in the software for you. So you place your pointer on the ribbon, right-click, and customize the ribbon. So in this case, they're going to go ahead and put that icon right in the ribbon. And the only way to really do that is to customize the ribbon first. So then, once you have that in the ribbon, you can simply select your component and then select the icon, and it will give you this report. Okay, another nice feature that has been updated is reports on visible layers. So you can generate a report of an item on a visible layer only. So that's nice. So the location for that is in the data tab and then the format report. So of course the benefits here, you could generate a report to show only those items on a visible layer. So if you have complicated schematics with multiple layers, then you can select individual layers for your reports to be created. So printing and exporting design sheets. So labels are updated on all sheets prior to exporting or printing. So you can see right there in the interface, in the update group, in the diagramming tab, there's a labels icon. So that prior to printing, the exporting a design sheet, you are prompted to make a decision about updating labels on all design sheets first. So if you change something along the way and they weren't updated, then you'll have a graphically correct printout. Okay, so you can choose to have PTC Creo Schematic make an update or not make the update. It's up to you. Okay, so embedded parameters also. So you can see parameters highlighted as you work. So as you work in embedded parameters, you can easily identify in the graphics area the item of which you are working. Okay, so it highlights in the graphics area whenever you select an individual parameter also. So when working on a long list of and editing a parameter, the list no longer refreshes, forcing you to scroll back and forth and try to find your parameter that you were working on. Beforehand, it would, once you change something, it would refresh and then it would scroll up to the top, and then you'd have to scroll back down to continue working on that individual parameter. So now they changed that so it stays locked in. Okay, so some user interface improvements also. So there are some improvements to the user interface. So first one here is if you click File, you can see a list of currently open design files. So then you can click a pin icon to pin or unpin an item from the list. To open a file in this list, just click the name of the file. As you can see there in the graphic, there's the recent files list right there. And then the pin is highlighted for the electrical control cabinet file. So you could lock that down so it doesn't get moved from the list, because that might be a project that you're working on for a while. Okay, some other improvements associated with the interface is you can, in the diagramming tab, there's now a clipboard group added where you can do copy and paste and cut operations. Okay, also, if you take a look at the geometry tab, the next one down, you can go to import, so you can import geometry. And it gives you a list of the 4 basic types of geometry you can import. So if you have things like AutoCAD files, something of that nature you want to import for geometry for your blocks, then you can easily do that right here in the import group in the geometry tab. Okay, so the next thing here is right in the data group, you can import design properties, design sheets, and PCB net data also. So again, some more interface improvements. So one thing that has changed in the interface that might throw you off just initially is that the administrator tab has been renamed to the design tab. Okay, so now up there in the ribbon, you won't see the word administrator, you'll see the word design, and then all the design functionalities associated with the software will be right there. So controlling your catalog, verifying it, editing a palette or setting up your design properties or data sets. You can do all that in the Design tab now. So another thing is you can change the settings of the software if you go to File Operations, and then it gives you a list over there on the left-hand side in the PTC Creo Schematic Options dialog box to change the environment, individual directories, system colors, design, entity displays, or selections. Okay, another thing is your export to EDA. So you can export the design sheets to an EDA format. You can export all sheets, the current sheet, or selected sheets if need be. So when prompted to update the graphic information, you can select update, and then it updates all the graphical information on all open and closed design sheets. After the EDA file is exported, you can open Creo View and then open the EDA file. So those of you that aren't familiar with the EDA, that's an electronic design automation file. Okay, so then once you have that information in the Creo View, you can view all components, connectors, and special symbols are listed right there in Creo View for you. Okay. And then you can also navigate through different design sheets that you have exported out also. Okay, so let me go ahead and do the demo portion now, and then we'll come back to the slides. So first off is, let's see. So right now I just have a couple simple schematics open. Let me grab this other one, electrical control cabinet. Here's a nice wiring diagram. So we'll notice that if I go to the Catalog Explorer, you'll notice that all the folders here are automatically collapsed by default. So in this case, it's a relatively small catalog, so I don't really have to worry about it. But if you had hundreds of folders in here, then it could be a big problem. So then I can manually show each individual subfolders in there also. So another thing is the creating and renaming folders in a single operation. So again, depending on what type you want here, a block or a port, you can create a new folder. And again, notice the folder parameter dialog box allows you to create a new name for that folder. And then once you select OK, it'll automatically create that for you with that name. So before, again, that was two operations. Okay, so let's talk about the follow fiber command here. Okay. So in this case, let's say we want to add another fiber in here, but we want it to follow this existing fiber. So I can go to Route and then Follow Fiber. So I can select the existing fiber and then the to and from port. And it'll follow that until it finds a shorter route. So let's route another one. Again, we're still in Follow Fiber, so I'll select another port and another port. And notice it does follow this fiber throughout its path. So I can, again, manually manipulate these. In this case, they're kind of overlapping, so I'm going to go ahead and drag this one down, and maybe I'll drag it over a little bit too. Then that looks a bit better. So that's how you can easily follow a fiber. Okay, so this with a reorder logical names, so we can do that by going to, let's go ahead and switch over to this other design. So in this case here, we can go to the data tab and then reorder logical names. So in this case, we have some information here that we can, well, this one we can't reorder. We have to select a component. Okay, so here's a couple individual things here that we could reorder up and down, or give it a new logical name, or what have you. In this case, there's only 2, so it's not that imperative. But if you had 20 ports, then you could easily reorder them. Okay, so next is the save a copy command. So if I go to File, Save a Copy, so that gives me the ability to save my new design as either a design template, or a package design. So here I can change the name and select Save. So that's nice to have the new dialog box pop up. And then you can change the design type also. So parameters also, so the default parameters, and talking about changing or editing global parameters. So if I go into design edit global parameters, these are a list of the system parameters associated with the software and where you can manipulate and change them also. Okay, so as you can see here, there's multiple parameters associated with this document type. Then you can manipulate them and change them. Okay, so the next thing that I'll show you is the location sets for your design template files. So if I go to this design, so I can go to Properties, and then I can select a location set and apply it to that individual. So I only have the default one in here, but you can imagine if I had multiple location sets saved off, then you could select them, or you can have it selected so there's no location sets applied at all. So next is the error messages. So down here at the bottom of the display is where all your error messages are being, or your message window is. So you can see all the error messages right now. Let's see, these aren't showing any error messages. They're all simple commands. But that's where they pop up, and they are much easier to understand and much more helpful. Okay, so the from to reporting, again, that's a nice add. So I had already added this as a new group but I'll go ahead and show you how to do that. So you can right mouse button on the ribbon and then go to custom commands. You'll see right here there's a cable from to report. There's also a connector from to report, a user report, visible layer report, wire from to report, and etc. Okay, so these ones that are predefined, you can add them to an existing tab or create a new tab or group. In this case, I created a new group. We'll go ahead and would like to rename this to maybe table. Okay, and then I have this command inside this group, and as you can see here, I've already done that. So I just renamed this group. So then I can go ahead and select the cable from to report, and then since I had this already selected, it shows up with all the information associated with that individual cable. So in this case, the cable name. So as you can see, this is the cable name, the H20. Conductor name, so each individual conductor associated within the cable. The from component. So here's the from component. From port, which port is going to component, to port, and which sheet it's on. Okay, so that's a nice, easy way to create a report at that point. Also, the printing and exporting design sheets. So again, whenever you print, it'll prompt you to, if you want to update the design sheets. If you want to do it manually, you can do that right here in the update group and the diagramming tab. And then right here is the labels. So you can update the current sheets or update all sheets for your labels if you want to do that manually. So here we're going to talk about the embedded parameters. Let's go switch over to this diagram. So as we can see here, we have multiple objects here, and within the parameters, if we show the embedded parameters, we can select multiple objects here, and then each object gets its own line of parameters. So I can, if I have multiple selected, I can highlight one of these and it gives it a secondary color. So it singles it out for you, as you can see. So you know which one you're actually manipulating. So as far as interface improvements, so let me show you, let me collapse the parameters here. And I'll go ahead and show you some of the stuff about the interface. So if I go to File, then you can easily see right here the recent files associated with what I have had open, and I could easily pin one of these designs to the recent files category. So if you're opening up a lot of files using Creo Schematics quite a bit, then this list will change quite a bit. And maybe you always going back to one of your designs on a regular basis. Then you can pin that right to the top and it'll stay there. So again, right here in the diagramming, you'll note that there is a clipboard right here. If I actually select something, I can utilize cut or copy. Then once those are invoked, you can paste them. Either paste it as a regular paste or paste just the shape. And the next thing for geometry, if I go to, as far as the interface, if I go to the geometry tab, the import, I can get data for things like a DXF or a DWG. So if I have some AutoCAD legacy stuff and I'm transferring over to Creo Schematics, then I can bring in information from a DWG or DXF or Medusa file or a CGM. The same goes with data associated with your design. So you can import design properties, design sheets, or PCB net data associated with your designs. So that's all right there in the interface. And as I noted before, you'll notice that one of the tabs up here, the design tab, has been renamed to, well, it was called the administrator tab, and now it's the design tab. So keep that in mind if you're using the software. So export to EDA. I actually have a nice video for that I can show you. Let me pull it up real quick. So this video is from the PTC University Learning Exchange. Any PTC customer can easily log into the Learning Exchange and see a various amount of videos and other topics associated with their softwares. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and play this video about exporting to EDA.
You can export design sheets to EDA format. You can export all sheets, the current sheet, or selected sheets. When prompted to update the graphical information, select Update updates all graphical information on all open and closed design sheets. After the EDA is exported, open Creo View and then open the EDA file. All components, connections, and special symbols are listed. You can also navigate through all the design sheets.
Okay, so as you can see there, exporting to EDA allows you to easily open that up in Creo View and still have all that associated data that's in Creo Schematics. Okay, so let's go back to the slides here. So in summary, as you can see, there are many updates to Creo Schematics 3.0 to help reduce production and time to market costs. So again, I'm Joshua Fontana, and if you have any questions, you can feel free to toss me an email, or if you have sales questions, contact Tony Mallarney at tmallarney@boundarysys.com. At this time, I'll go ahead and see if there's any questions for any of the viewers. And if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and type them into the questions box in your GoToMeeting dialog box. Okay, we'll wait just a minute longer to see if any questions pop up. Okay, well, it doesn't look like we have any questions so far, so we'll go ahead and conclude with the webinar. Again, I'm Joshua Fontana, Boundary Systems.